but she was always fun, and you can tell by her picture that she is. So there are 3 recipes on this page, so we just decided to give them all to you, but we are going to work from Kate Hunter's recipe. Okay? And in front of you, each pair, you have the ingredients to make a whole kuga, although as you see your pan, you'll be preparing a half each, okay? But you'll prepare the ingredients together to make the whole. Joanne's at the stove, and one of the first things you'll see on here that might be intimidating is scalded milk. It is for me, but Joanne has perfected it, yeah?
I do the scalded milk part. The yeast is the trickiest part.
Okay, all right.
Starting first today is getting the yeast ready. As it foams and doubles it for 10 minutes, then the scalded milk will happen. So I need to reverse that. I'll stop this right here because we discussed this. The best thing to do is start the milk.
All right. So the milk is here 1/2 or 1 cup. Using a whole milk, partial cream or something like that is of course going to make your baked good more good. Joanne has used, what is that milk called that you use?
This is whole milk.
Organic milk?
Yes, I do. This is whole milk.
Yeah.
I do like organic.
Yeah.
And I have, from time to time, used half milk and half whipping cream.
Okay.
Depends upon what you
Right.
high milk or maybe you could.
Well, if you've used oat milk in recipes, I would just go with how you've used it. I have not, so, okay. For our dough, we also have a 1/4 cup of sugar, a little bit of salt, our beaten egg, and our flour, and shortening. It says part butter, and we've used whole butter, or all butter, so real butter. I'm sure there were days in the 70s when my grandmother used margarine, but we're using butter. All right. Okay. All right. So while she's getting the scalded milk and the yeast ready for the dough, I can also talk about the dough that I brought for you today because I've been using this dough for a long time. It's frozen. Comes in 3 loaves. You each have a half a loaf in front of you. And I also use it for beer rocks. I take my loaf, defrost it in the fridge overnight, cut it in 6. And that's what I make my beer rocks from. And it's very yummy. And so I've also made Kuchen out of it, which you will do on yours today. And it comes out really well. So if you are intimidated by the dough or you don't have time for the dough, then this is a great option. Food Max is where I get mine. I don't know where else they have it, but Food Max. So that's Bridgeford frozen dough. All righty. So we are scalding milk.
Scalding milk. And it's not a boil, but when you see the vapor, then you'll know that it's heated enough. And I'm starting to see it right now.
Okay. So you have it on like a medium heat?
I do.
Okay.
It's a tiny bit over medium, but...
So the scalding, we don't want it boiling. We just want the vapors to come up, meaning that it's getting really hot.
And I see a little bubbles around the edges, and I see just starting to vapor.
All right. So when that does get up to the point where she's ready to remove it, then she's going to add, as it says here, add sugar and salt, and let that cool till lukewarm.
You can see that vapor.
Yeah. And there's just little bubbles around the edge.
Sorry.
It's
so we're adding 1/4 cup sugar and 1 teaspoon salt.
Yep. It says to put it right in there, and then to let it cool. And when I made them, like I said, I've only been making them a few weeks, and when I made them, I let mine cool quite a long time. In fact, I put it in a big bowl, and I was spinning it around trying to let it cool. But Joanne has found that if you just get it to, what, about 115?
Well, I'm going to let it cool to the temperature of the yeast. So hopefully that'll be at the same timing now.
Because
we started the scalding milk first.
Yes. So cooling the milk down, and then the yeast is also...
I'm starting the yeast water. So that, to me, is really tricky, is getting that water to be a little tiny bit of water, 1/4 cup of water.
The right temperature.
To get to 100 to 110 degrees.
100 to 110 for your water. So we have a digital thermometer that helps a lot because it gives us a quick read. So she's trying to get her 1/4 cup to add to her yeast. And keeping the dough warm, of course, you would know that it would be helping it to rise. And so that's why we want to not cool it off too much. And not have it too hot or it'll kill the yeast. Yes.
Yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah, when it says 1 cake.
Yeah, in 1 cake yeast, Joanne, how much is that? 2?
Well, it makes, we use 2 1/4.
2 1/4 teaspoons.
Sorry, 2 1/4.
2 1/4 teaspoons if you have the big jar. Yeah, and it shows those measurements on the jar too. That's how much it works.
The
She adds a little teaspoon of sugar, it doesn't say that here,
It does.
to her yeast when she's making it fluff up. It really makes a difference. So adding that sugar to get that yeast friendly and active.
Yes, and keep it happy.
The right temperature of the water for the yeast. Yeah.
Where do you put that?
With the yeast and the hot water. And then we're going to let that sit for 10 minutes so it bubbles up and really gets that yeast active.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the part that takes the longest, the dough. But we wanted to show this all to you so you know what the details are and how it all comes down.
This made it to 110. And so, let's see. For
This is the quarter cup of water for the yeast. She's going to put the yeast in it now.
And that's what it says, 110. Now I see that, oh, here we go. Okay, okay, you're going to see a kind of a non-standardish measurement. I have a 1/2 teaspoon measurement. So I have to do this. This is 1 teaspoon now, 2 teaspoons, and a quarter.
So 2 1/4 teaspoons if you use the jar yeast with a quarter cup of hot water.
And the next thing I'm going to make sure to do is add that
A little bit of sugar, yeah.
Sugar. Now, if all goes well, this will,
Bubble and
it'll come pretty high. I'm going to do a fun trick, and that's to set it under some light.
oh, she's going to set it under the light so it's a little bit warm.
And hopefully, this will work for us. Keeping track of the scalded milk.
Waiting for it to get to the right temperature.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, let's see what we have here. So after we get that yeast dissolved and she's getting it to get fluffy, we're going to just take out a quarter cup of mixture for the top. Wait, oh, I'm on the wrong recipe, so sorry. I'm like, that doesn't sound... Okay, so is it safe for me to put the other ingredients in here?
Sure.
Okay, so I do have
Yeah.
butter. We need to talk about the butter, Joanne.
Oh, boy.
This recipe calls for a quarter cup, which is half of a cube of butter, right? But she had a happy accident a few weeks ago and used the entire cube, which is a half a cup, and it was the best Kuga she ever made. So you might want to make that note on there if you're not afraid of butter. If you're not going to be eating this every day, it's a great thing to add more butter. So, yeah, so we have the half cup, which is 1 stick of butter for our dough, all right? And then we also have our 1 egg right here. It says beaten, so I'm going to put it on the side and beat it up a little bit. Okay, and again, you're not doing this part yet because you have your prepared dough. Then we have, there's my egg, and then my milk and my butter. It says melted butter, but the softened butter works just fine. Yeah, you don't ever want to like totally melt butter in the microwave unless you're putting it on popcorn. Like that's not a good baking technique at all. All right. So then we already have our pre-measured flour here. And I'll pour it in here, but then I'll just wait for her to bring my yeast and my milk until I mix it all.
And just to say, right over here, I'm still at 136 degrees on this milk, so this is kind of cooling, lowering temperature while the yeast is
Warming, yeah.
Doing it, not rising at temperature, but so this is the slowest part, the most patient part you
Yeah.
have to be. And we're kind of speeding through a couple of things here too, because my goal was to try to get this one assembled and in the oven while you're all creating yours, and so that you'd actually get to see the finished product when it comes out. Otherwise, you can see this one here that we brought today.
We've made a lot of sample Kugas in the last few weeks. Yeah.
The richer dough. I could also tell you about the strawberry jam that's here today. This is our president, Connie Coberly, brought these for us. Frozen from last year. Beautiful shape. She'd already cut them to it at all. And so it was a wonderful surprise today. It was so tasty. we add a little bit of cornstarch with water just to heat that up. So the first thing I did was I put a little bit of water in the pan. I put the frozen berries there, heated that, and then I added the cornstarch as I could see that I wanted to thicken it. I didn't add just, glump it all in. And so no sugar in this one, so this will be
lovely.
what we end up with.
Okay, if you want to moisturize your hands, you don't need to wear the glove because you're going to be spreading your grease. Your Crisco. So I've put a blob of Crisco in your pan. Go ahead and put your glove on if you want. And we're just going to spread this all around in here. Get this prepared for our dough.
So we have 6 minutes over here for the yeast, if it works.
Yep. And then if you want to get out your dough there and just start pressing it into the pan. Press is better than stretching. You don't want to roll it out with a roller. You don't want to pull it. You want to just massage it and press it. No, don't mess with any of those other things yet. Yeah, just the dough. It shouldn't stick. It's pretty good. Oh, sticking to the plastic.
Oh, to the what could we do about that next time? Just maybe set the dough in. Well, that would be interesting. Okay.
I guess that was not the best idea, but hey, we'll go with it.
I have 126 here, so
It is bubbling up over there.
This is bubbling.
It's coming.
So I think we're going to make
As soon as you can get it corner to corner, if you can get all the way corner to corner, then you did a good job.
And I think this yeast is going to live. We'll hope for that.
And are we going to pour the milk in and then the yeast in and then just mix all this together, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. At home, I would have put the milk in the container with the yeast and stirred that around with the egg, and then gone that way. But it's all going to be fine.
I think it will. Pat, yours looks great. You got it corner to corner. Awesome. Student.
Good. Yeah. So best you can, try to stay away from using fingers. More so, just press out from the center, which you did. You said press. Okay. Yeah.
All right. I don't remember if I gave a disclaimer that I'm not a baker.
And
I've learned a lot from Joanne in the last couple of weeks.
And I'm a learner.
Yeah.
I just keep learning new things. So.
But I'm so happy to now know how to make Kuga dough because I have not made it until this last month or so.
Yeah, it was just 2 Thursdays ago that we worked together.
And I couldn't find it. It was around Christmas time, and I couldn't find it.
How many of you have done coffee cakes before? Yeah. Okay.
Same.
Same.
Like a biscuit dough or cake dough or cake batter. Yeah.
So did you try Bisquick?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
How was that?
It's okay. You gotta add like a little sugar to this
Okay.
plate. You gotta kind of alter it to your taste.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, and that's the fun part is making it to your liking.
So
And I'll bring it all over
The
there.
best result concerning the milk and the yeast, getting them very close to the same temperature before putting them together is, will give you probably your best result. So some people might not be so picky. Oh, the timer, yay. But that's what Joanne's been doing, and her Kugas have been coming out fantastic. So I trust her. Okay, here we come.
Now, do all of you have your favorite spoon? My favorite spoon. My wooden spoon got in the dishwasher. It curved itself. It's just right for my hand. How that happened, I don't know. Do you want the milk first?
Yeah, whatever,
Okay,
however you
let's
want to do
the
it.
milk first. Let's warm up that dough. I've had in the past trying to do this in the wintertime. And so what I had to do was I had to warm up a pan of water to sit underneath my bowl. Some people will put theirs in the microwave with some water and heat it up that way. But that's
Keep
how
the
I
bowl warm?
to keep the bowl warm so you don't have all those discrepancies in temperature. And I'll lend you my favorite spoon.
All
Okay.
right, I'll start with a spoon.
We'll get some more of
I'll
this
use
off.
my hand. Since I had the glove on, it really doesn't take very long. My first Kuga I made a month or so ago, I thought I had to knead the dough for a long time. It doesn't say in there. It doesn't tell me how long to knead the dough. But Joanne says 5 minutes is good. So works for her, works for me. So once I get this in a ball, I'll just be kneading it right in this bowl for about 5 minutes.
I'll get all of that out of there.
Yes.
Okay, here's an extra one. Is that right?
So this is your spread. Yes, you're going to beat your egg.
Oh, this is it. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yes. Okay, so, all
Beat the
right.
egg and then just mix that all up.
Do you want me to spread that one so we can bake it too?
Sure. That would be wonderful. Thank you. So I found too that if you're able to get in there and beat your egg really nicely, and then you incorporate all the other, that seems to be its best. But it doesn't really matter. It'll work. And you'll see lumps in it. Not to worry. It'll bake right out.
Okay, Joanne, can we talk about the different ways you've made spread? This
Oh,
is sour cream. You
yes.
have sour cream in your spread, as it says in the recipe. It says sour cream or sweet cream. I've only ever used sour cream, but Joanne has worked with different.
Yeah, I have a thing about flavors together. So for boysenberry, I like to use sour cream. And for strawberry, I like to do the same. I like to use whipped cream. So you have depending upon your topping combination you want to use. So, yeah.
My family recipe is ready.
Oh,
It's just milk, egg.
okay. Well, I noticed some at Easter that was brought in from Biola. Here, I'm so sorry. Let me hand that to you. They had no custard, and so there are that have no custard, and there's some that make it with the custard and the rivel topping that you're going to make later without the fruit. So there are so many combinations.
I've seen
Yeah.
it's just all custard.
Uh-huh.
Like the black seed.
Okay, I want to learn how to make that next.
I've never tried it. It's
Okay.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I've heard it's good. Yep, that wax paper sure does stick. That's looking good.
Just wax paper.
Try not to use fingers as best you can.
And this dough gets as fluffy as that sample she showed you. So it really does.
And you'll have some of that before you walk out the door too. You'll get to take some home. And again, I'm seeing these lumps, and you did too. It's not a problem.
Another thing about ingredients, if you're not a baker and you're not experienced, I learned from a baker, room temperature.
Yes.
Get your cream out, get your milk out, get your eggs out, and let them sit out for several hours before you bake. It just makes a lot of difference in your baked goods.
Alisa, how long do you set your things out to get room temperature? You
Oh,
talked
it
about
probably
this the other day.
varies. If I'm going to make something early in the morning, I'll leave my butter out all night.
Yeah. In the wintertime, you can really surely
butter,
do
for
that.
Sure. I mean, in
Yeah.
a wrapper.
Yes.
I'll leave it out all night. Now your spread, again, you know, you're sharing it with the person across from you. So whoever's better at eyeballing measurements, you're going to take half and spread it on your dough.
Alisa, where'd you get this? Is this apple or pear?
Those are pears. Yeah, we'll talk about those in just a minute.
Smells so good.
Okay, so spread that out evenly and go all the way to the corner. Don't think you need to leave an edge, because as your dough rises, it's going to push
We need
it
extra
around anyway.
spoons. That's
So
what we
go all the
need.
way. Oh,
Okay. Oh, well, look. That's oh, you already did yours. Does anyone need an extra spoon? How about you, Kyle? Hey, you're welcome.
All right, now we get to talk all about fruit.
Fruit.
Yes. So lots of things about fruit. As Joanne was mentioning about these were fresh strawberries that had been frozen and then cooked down to thicken with a little bit of cornstarch. Don't add sugar. You really don't need to add sugar unless you have some fruit that's not very tasty. I would always taste it first to see if you need to add sugar.
And that this time, I really did mix the cornstarch and the water together just to get a little roux, kind of thickened liquid. And then I just sprinkled it in, as I saw I needed to add, I would. Last time I used frozen from the store, and what I did was I cooked that strawberry and I kept tasting it. As the temperature changed, I wanted to see if I was getting the right amount of sugar. So I did start out with a lot of sugar, and I just added as I saw. But you can tell. I'm going to make sure you all taste that because that's so good.
You have to be careful about frozen fruit because there's a lot of water. If you just take the frozen fruit and place it on here, it really does not make an attractive or tasty kuchen.
It makes your coffee cake soggy and it won't bake.
Yeah. So if you are going to use the frozen, you need to cook it down like this. Fresh fruit is the best, and of course, our ancestors used whatever they had on hand, whatever was there. Sometimes if there wasn't fruit, like you said, they would just put the topping and use it that way. I have cut for you pears, and I made one with these a few weeks ago, and it came out fantastic. So the pears are there for you if you want to use them. There's also some strawberry, and we can give more if more people want strawberry. What's in the cup is enough for your half. So if both of you want strawberry, you'll have to get some more from us.
Or
the pears, I don't know how far they'll go, but the pears.
Yeah.
Now, with the fresh fruit, peaches, nectarines, anything that you have. I mean, I don't think I've ever had apricot for sure.
An apricot, you can cook it down if you want to fresh. I cook it down, but you don't have to take the skin off. It just works great. Hey. Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never had that.
Oh, she would slice them. That makes sense. Yeah.
I'll have to try that.
That makes sense to slice that. Yeah.
Also, jams or fruit spreads work really well prepared. If you don't have time or want to do this or can't do this, a jam or fruit spread, I've used fig. Of course, we've used strawberry. This is a blackberry.
Okay.
Any kind of fruit spread like that.
You're welcome.
It works great.
And so the way that I like to go is just take a dollop and just kind of easily spread it out. And that way you're creating a layer and not too high in any one particular place. Does anybody want some of this strawberry?
No, I had intended on preparing for you blackberries, but I couldn't find any in the store.
Another month.
Well, yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, this is what they did. They just used whatever they had. And so there were pears, and I tried it, and it was fantastic. So
and add to that,
pears.
I did find blackberries yesterday, but when I walked out of the store with 4 little half pints, $18. Yes, you need more.
Yeah, I don't know how thick this is supposed to be.
You do it whatever you like. It can be just a ribbon, or it can be a thick layer. The one from Viola was such a thick layer. It was almost 3/4 of an inch of fruit.
A few more pears.
It was delicious. So you can do, you can do it however you like. Does anyone else want some strawberries?
Fortunate.
You look like you need more strawberries. Here, how about you? I haven't met you yet. What is your name? Hi, Cindy. Oh, of course I have met you. How are you? Good. Are you interested in strawberries?
Well, there's some right here.
Okay, let me add to that. And there.
Okay, as you're placing
And
your
I
fruit,
just dripped on your napkin, sorry. Okay,
the last part is the topping, or we call it rival or ribble, depending on who you ask.
And streusel is also a name for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And hopefully you have your listening ears on.
I just
So our
spelled
recipe
again. I'm very good at that.
here calls for 1/2 of a cube of butter, 1/2 a cup of sugar, and a cup of flour. And again, by a happy accident, Joanne had placed a whole cube of butter. So that's what we've done for you today in your rival bowl. You have the cube of butter. And we also have almost a whole cup of sugar in there as well. So more sugar, more butter is always better, right? And bakes it good.
Yes.
So with your rival, you can start with
I'm
your
going to clean
fork,
this up so you don't.
and you just cut that batter up into chunks. And if you want to put your hand in there and squeeze it, that's good too.
I really smash mine against the bowl edge. I found that if I put the flour with the butter first and then add the sugar later, it's really, it helped me get that small, yes, that small. Did you use that? I have done that too. Okay, good. So I didn't bring that today, but that is a good one.
And when I made my pear Kuchen a few weeks ago, I added cinnamon to my topping. So if anyone wants to add cinnamon to their topping, I mean, you guys have both fruits going, so I don't know how you feel about that with the strawberry, but you may do that. I have it here, so we will get that out to you if you want to add that.
How many have had the strawberry on the rivel, or the streusel part? Have you ever tried the cinnamon?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Or cinnamon with the strawberry? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah. I haven't either. So I've also found that if you get a pinch of time and you think, what can I do ahead? This is one thing you can do ahead. You can do this the day before and cover it, and it will work really fine. My mom had a really, she loved to have her rivel with no lumps at all.
I like the lumps.
And Alisa said she likes the lumps, but she thought it was so pretty whenever they didn't have the lumps in it. So I tried last week or so, and I thought, okay, what can I do? So I actually then took my hands I rubbed my hands together, and it kind of made it into a smaller size, and that worked out good.
Joanne, we're going to want to get this one in the oven right away, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And it's at 375. We will time it for 20 minutes and check it, and then I'm sure we'll need more time. But we were hoping to make sure you at least saw it when by the end of our lesson today.
And I'm sure you understand we're just going to spread this over evenly, going all the way to the corners. And again, this is almost double the sugar that the recipe calls for.
What?
All right,
Definitely double the butter.
Here you go, Joanne.
Okay, we're ready.
All right.
I'm going to go like this.
Pop that in the oven.
Yeah.
Just scoop it up and put it on there evenly. Yep, all the way corner to corner to corner. So you're going to be taking it home to cook it. We have a top for you.
Oh, it won't. Okay.
I do. With the Bridgeford only. I've never done that.
Oh, come. Oh, Andra. Yeah. Oh. What are you going to do? I can trade with you and I can mix yours if you want. Or you can keep going. You could take your hands and maybe go this way with it, but it's pretty messy, and then you have to go wash your hands. So I have to warn you about that. Sure, and I know that was a great idea, Cindy. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, and you're doing this with it, with with one hand. Okay. Okay.
I got it pretty fine.
Great.
I'll try to remember that next time. All right.
Do you think you guys have enough? Because there's plenty here to add to it if you want to. And anybody who would like to. What was that? You have plenty? Okay.
You can take the glove off, sure.
Okay. If you want to take, if you're ready, we can take your glove off if you think you have, and you haven't already. So.
We have a cover for your Kuchen, so you'll be able to take it home and bake
this.
it. You know how to handle that, so right
We're
here.
going to
Sign
have
off.
a
Yeah.
vision for the time.
Okay, thank you, Facebook people, for joining us. We're going to finish up here, and hopefully you will come here and participate. Hopefully we'll be doing beer rocks sometime. Grabble. Maybe I'll make my grandmother's cream puffs.
There you go.